Hello everyone and welcome to this tutorial. I'm Emmanuel, I am a real-life Boeing 737 pilot, and just as a caveat, I'm also a member of the PMDG tech team. That's why I can show you the PMDG 737 for Microsoft Flight Simulator here. Now you will notice that my introduction on this one has been a little bit different from my previous videos. And that is because this tutorial is not necessarily limited to the Boeing 737 or even to Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can use it with any flight simulator and basically any aircraft there is, like for example the soon-to-be-released Leonardo Mad Dog for Microsoft Flight Sim. In this one I'm going to talk a little bit about the takeoff briefings and why it is important to conduct one, and why even in Flight Simulator you should consider doing one for your flight as well. If you're flying offline and don't care about any procedures, then it's probably not necessary to do one. But if you want to fly online or if you want to follow realistic procedures, then it is probably a good idea to conduct a takeoff briefing, even if you're just talking to yourself. The idea behind this is to go about a few important things here that you should just have a thought about. So for example, some things that are always worth mentioning is, especially if you're flying online, language difficulties and ATC communications. Now, not everybody might be speaking perfect English, not just in flight simulation, but we also have this problem in real life in certain countries, where controllers might have a strong accent, or if you're flying, for example, in Southern Europe or in Southern America, then they might be talking in the local language with local traffic, making situational awareness a little bit harder. Or other things like taxiway or runway incursion hotspots, maybe low level of altitudes, or contaminated runways, or maybe stepped climbs on the standard instrument departure. And, of course, any weather that's around you, terrain, or traffic considerations. That's just something that you should open up the briefing with. For example, we're sitting here in a Boeing 737-700 aircraft. The aircraft has no failures, the weather is good, and the terrain is flat. Something like that. Now there are also a couple of non-standards that you should go over, especially if you're flying shared cockpit. For example, that's if you're using full thrust, or if you have a wet runway, if you plan to do an unpressurized takeoff, or a takeoff where you're pressurizing the airplane using the APU. If you're using anti-ice, or if there may be wind shear expected, in that case it might be a good idea to review the wind shear escape maneuver. So these are some general considerations you give to the beginning of the briefing, and when that is done there are a few things that you should review in any case. And this is actually bringing us back to our flight from Stansted to Dublin. There will also be a second tutorial on briefings where I'm going to cover extensively which kind of briefings we do in my airline and what the full briefing we do on the Boeing 737 is looking like. Anyway, for this one, there is at least a little consideration you should have. And I'm just opening up the flight here from London Stansted to Dublin. So, looking at the parking, we're parked on 32 left, that's just over here, and we're going for runway 22 over here. So our pushback is going to be with the nose to the left-hand side, then we're going to taxi out via Bravo, Hotel, and then it's either Romeo or Sierra that we're going to take. And this is actually marked as a hotspot because it's very easy to mistake the two taxiways and end up on the wrong one. You definitely want to avoid that. Then moving on to the departure, you Tower 1 Romeo. So this departure is taking you, I'm going to show you on the plan page here, taking you straight ahead to 3.1 miles from the ILS. That's the Charlie point over here. We can see that's about 3.1 miles. It's a right-hand turn to join the radial 170 Inmont Barkway VOR. By 80 Barkway, that's the hotel point over here. Then you're moving on to the 5 DME. And that is above 3,000 feet and below 4,000. You have the below 4,000 here on the next waypoint and above 3,000 here. Moving on, 2 DME from Barkway, you want to be at 4,000. And then it's a left-hand turn to join the radio 263 outbound from Barkway to Utah at 4,000 feet. You also want to verify that you've set the correct altitude. Now again, we've set 4,100 feet. For more information as to why, I recommend a quick look into my previous tutorial on the pre-flight setup, where I've explained why we are doing this the way we're doing it. So this is about the most basic you should be doing as a briefing, just to get your mind set for the flight and to confirm what you actually want to do. Now this said, I'll keep it at this for this very tutorial, and if you are interested in a more complete tutorial on briefings, then check out my next one where I'm going to do the full briefing that we are doing in my airline for the 737 aircraft. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.